I can't start it until we begin. Okay, we can begin.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
that's good. So we're not saying anything that people shouldn't hear. We are now live. Okay, and I
There
am
we go.
spotlighted. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Havdalah. This is going to be our last one for a while. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break. We've got the holidays coming up in the fall. So, but I have a really good story for tonight. So we'll hopefully go out on things. It's funny because I was thinking, and getting out my books and trying to figure out which story I was going to have. And then I was looking at something for some chaplaincy work that I do and realized that I have a book that it just came out in the spring that has got a great story in it, which I've never told before. So this is based on a Yiddish folktale. It's called 7 Good Years. Okay. So Tuvia was very poor. He didn't even have a belt to hold up his pants, so he used an old rope instead. He lived in a ramshackle hut with Sorka, his wife, and their children, and he worked in the marketplace as a porter carrying heavy loads. That means, really, in those days, there was no carts or anything he carried everything by hand. So he carried barrels and beams and boxes, wooden logs, bundles of hay. And once, believe it or not, he even had to carry a cow. Then one evening, it was a Thursday evening to be precise, Tuvia couldn't find any customers. No one needed a porter. The marketplace was emptying out. The merchants were packing up their wares and closing shop, and even the sun was about to set. Oh, what will I do, thought Tuvia. How can I go home to my wife and children without even a penny in my pocket to buy food for Shabbat? Tuvia lifted his eyes to the heavens and recited a prayer in his heart. Please, please, if only I could return home with something for my family. He was still worrying about what to do when suddenly he felt a tug at the rope around his waist. Tuvia turned around in fright and saw an older man with bright eyes, dressed completely in green from head to toe. That's hat to shoes. On his head, he also said, well, it was a green hat with a feather, blue feather, though. That's the only thing that wasn't green. Good evening, sir, the man in green said politely. Good evening to you, said Tuvia. Do you need help? Do you require a reporter? How can I help you? I can carry all kinds of heavy loads. No, the man responded with a smile. To tell you the truth, I'm here to help and to bring good news. There are 7 good years in store for you. 7 good years, said Tuvia. Yes, 7 good years. No more and no less. 7 years of good fortune. 7 years of never having to work carrying heavy loads on your back. 7 years in which you can buy everything in the market. So said the man. And what did Tuvia respond? Well, I'm glad you asked. At first, Tuvia was too shocked to speak. After all, somebody offers you 7 good years. What do you do? But he thought it over for a minute and said, what happens at the end of 7 years? Oh, that's simple, answered the man. You go back to being a porter. So what do you say? Do you agree? When do you want the 7 good years to start? Now? Tomorrow? A year from now? I don't know, Tuvia said. No, maybe wait. I can't decide. Let me go home and talk to my Sorka. Of course, said the man. Go home and ask her. I'll wait here for you. So Tuvia went home and told his wife Sorka about all that had happened. What do you say? He asked her. And what did Sorka say? I'm glad you asked. Sorka said, what in the world is there to think about? Someone is offering you a fortune, run and take it. But Tuvia said, what happens when we get old? Why are you worrying about what happens when we get old? The children are small and hungry now. I don't have the money to pay for their teacher. In fact, she sent them home today. In short, Sorka said, go back to the man and tell him your Sorka says, let the 7 good years start right now. And so it was. Tuvia went to the man and told him what Sorka said. What did the man say? I'm glad you asked. The man said gladly. Now go home to your wife and your fortune. When Tuvia arrived home, he couldn't believe his eyes. Behind his ramshackle hut, he found his joyous children, along with his delighted wife, Sorka, their very, very skinny goat, and a pile of gold. That's how the 7 good years began. Oh, time. The better it goes, the faster it passes. 7 good years flew by. Lights like that for Tuvia, his wife, Sorka, and their children. And what happened at the end of the 7 good years? I'm glad you asked. The man in green with the blue feather in his hat arrived at the marketplace, searched for Tuvia, and was surprised to see him standing there, exactly the way he always had, in a worn shirt, with his pants hanging loosely, held up only by an old rope. Remember, before he couldn't afford a belt. Now he's got a pile of gold, and he still has an old rope. Shalom Aleichem, peace to you, dear man, Tuvia said to him brightly. You've kept your promise, and you've come to tell me that the good years are over. Can you please come home with me, though, and tell that to Sorka, my wife? As you wish, said the man, and he followed behind Tuvia. They traveled together till they came to the house. And what kind of house was it? I'm glad you asked. It wasn't a palace, or a half a palace, or even a mansion. It was just a ramshackled hut. Actually the same exact hut, with the same exact wife, wearing the same exact dress, standing behind the same exact pile of gold. I'm sorry, said the man in green, because he felt bad for the lovely couple. You're sorry, said Sorka? For what and why? You can see. We're very happy with what we have. We live in the same hut, we eat the same food, and we wear the same clothes. And the gold? Asked the man in astonishment. You didn't use the gold? Oh, we used it all right, said Sorka. We only took what we needed in order to pay for our children to go to school. Now they're all grown and finished with school. There's nothing we need. Please take the rest of the gold that you left with us, she said, and give it to someone who surely needs it. After all, there must be families far less fortunate than we are. So what happened after that? I'm glad you asked. Sorka gave the good man the remaining gold. The man took the gold, thanked her politely, said farewell, kind of shaking his head in bewilderment, and disappeared. But guess what? The next morning, when Sorka and Tuvia went to milk the goat behind their hut, they were astonished to discover right there in their yard a great big pile of gold. And so another 7 good years began. This is actually, there's variations on stories about people who realize that what they have is great and don't feel like they need more than they get. So I am going to, let me get here. I usually put the Havdalah blessings up before, but there we go. And oops. There we go. I'm going to put them all, everything in the chat. Toby and there we go. I thought I hit return and I still didn't do it. So there it is. All the blessings are in there. And we've got our wine and grape juice, candle, and our spices. Oops. It'd help if we use, there we go. I was trying to light the wrong side of the match. It's been a long week. It's gonna go. There we go. More light. Yeah, die da 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 die 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 da 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 die 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 da 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 die die da da die da 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 die. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Borei peri hagafen. Yai dai da 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 dai dai yai dai da 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 dai 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 da 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 dai da 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 dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. They always make me cough. Die die da 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 die 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 da 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 die 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 da 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 die die da da die da 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 die. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Die die da 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 die 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 da 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 die 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 da 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 die die da da die da 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 die. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol, ben or l'choshek, ben yom hashvi'i l'sheshet tameh hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. And you can take a minute either to breathe in some more of the sweet sound of Shabbat before you put your candles out. It's always interesting to see how the candles drip down. I've got extra parts of it melting there. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu HaTishvi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu HaGiladi, Bimhera v'yameinu, Ya'avo aleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David. And you can unmute and join me in Shavua Tov. You can drown me out for a change. Shavua Tov, 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 Shavua Tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Shavua Tov, everyone. As I mentioned at the beginning, for anybody who came in late, we're taking a bit of a break with holidays and fall and everything coming up with this, but it's been a lot of fun. And it was really helpful during the pandemic when people didn't see each other. And I know I'm very appreciative of Rabbi Barbara having started this because I didn't get on the computer on Shabbat. So I was really isolated in this way. It was very nice when we had a group together on Saturday night. So I actually saw human faces during the close of Shabbat. So we're going to get on Facebook, and then those of us who are here can chat for a few minutes if we want. So Shavua Tov, everyone.